My fiancée wanted an open relationship, but only while she worked abroad. So I took her request literally. I always assumed that when someone asked for an open relationship, they meant both people would get to date. Turns out, I was wrong. Rachel and I had been together for 5 years, engaged for 1. We were planning our wedding, choosing venues, and even debating what kind of cake to serve when she got a career-changing job offer overseas. I was excited for her, proud even. It was a huge step forward. But one evening, as we were talking about how we'd handle the distance, Rachel suddenly leaned back, crossing her arms. "So, I've been thinking about something, and I don't want you to freak out." I raised an eyebrow. "Okay?" She hesitated, then gave me this weirdly gentle smile. "I think we should try an open relationship while I'm gone." I blinked. "Wait, what?" She kept her expression calm and reasonable, like she was explaining simple math. "Just while I'm abroad. It'll be a chance for us to grow as individuals before we settle down forever." That phrase, "before we settle down forever," was what made me stop. I leaned forward. "So, you want to see other people while you're overseas?" Rachel nodded way too quickly. "Yeah, I just think it makes sense, you know? I'll be in a new place, surrounded by different people. It wouldn't be realistic to pretend I won't be interested in anyone." I stayed silent, waiting for the other shoe to drop. "But obviously," she added, "it wouldn't make much sense for you to do the same thing." That was it. That was the part that flipped the switch in my brain. I tilted my head. "Why wouldn't it make sense for me?" Rachel sighed like she was dealing with a child. "Because you're not going anywhere, you're staying home, doing the same things you've always done. You don't need to explore. But for me, this is a huge life change." There it was. She wanted me to stay loyal while she had her fun, and the worst part? She expected me to just go along with it. I could have argued, I could have called out the hypocrisy, pointed out that this wasn't an open relationship, it was just her asking for permission to cheat. But instead, I took a deep breath, leaned back in my chair, and nodded. "All right, I see your point." Rachel lit up. She wasn't expecting me to agree so easily. "Really?" she asked, practically bouncing in her seat. "So you're okay with this?" I forced myself to hesitate, rubbing my chin like I was deep in thought. "I mean, yeah, if that's what you feel is best for us, I won't stop you." Rachel beamed. She reached for my hand, squeezing it. "This is why I love you. You're so mature about things." I smiled back, but inside, I already knew Rachel wasn't expanding our relationship. She was ending it. She just didn't realize it yet. Rachel left the country completely confident that she had me wrapped around her finger. She didn't even seem emotional at the airport. "You're the best," she whispered before boarding, kissing me like it was some grand goodbye scene in a romance movie. "This is going to be so good for us, you'll see." I watched her go, hands in my pockets, nodding like a man who had accepted his fate. She had no idea. I didn't waste time. If Rachel thought I was going to sit around moping, waiting for her texts, refreshing her Instagram stories, she was dead wrong. The very next day, I got to work. I hit the gym hard. I had always been in decent shape, but I never took fitness seriously. Now, it became my priority. I trained every morning, ate clean, and transformed my body. I threw myself into my career. Instead of wasting time overanalyzing Rachel's decision, I took on new projects at work, pushed for a promotion, and started making more money than ever. I expanded my social life. I reconnected with old friends. I joined networking groups. I said yes to events, parties, and weekend getaways. Slowly, my life stopped revolving around Rachel. And the most interesting part? I felt happier. 2 weeks in, Rachel sent her first checking-in text. "Hey babe, how's everything? Miss me yet?" I kept my response brief. "All good. Been busy, you?" She sent a photo of a sunset. "Miss you." I didn't respond. Not because I was playing games, but because I had nothing to say. Rachel had expected me to be eager, desperate, waiting. Instead, she got a dry, detached response. She noticed. As the months passed, Rachel's updates started to feel off. At first, she was confident, excited about her job, her new friends, and the opportunities she was experiencing. But the more emotionally distant I became, the more she changed. "You're so quiet these days. Everything okay?" "Yeah, just been busy." "Haha, you're not seeing anyone, are you?" "Why would that matter?" Lol, stop. You're so dramatic. The fact that she even asked told me everything. She was testing me. She needed to reassure herself that I was still in her pocket. That's when I knew. she had assumed I'd wait. She was wrong. 6 months in, mutual friends started talking. The first crack in Rachel's fantasy came when someone posted a group photo from a party. I was in it. I looked better than ever, leaner, sharper, completely different from the guy she left behind. Rachel saw it. How do I know? Because that same night she called me. I answered casually. Hey, what's up? She hesitated. You look different. I smirked. In a good way, I hope. She let out a small breathy laugh. Yeah, just wow. You've been working out? Something like that. There was a long pause. I miss you. I let the silence stretch, then replied, yeah, that's nice. And then I ended the call. From that moment, Rachel changed. She started texting more often, checking in daily, sending pictures, asking about my life, trying to pull me back into her world. She wanted reassurance, but she wasn't going to get it. Because while she was falling apart, I was just getting started. And the real twist? I hadn't even begun dating yet. Rachel's messages started coming more frequently. At first she kept it light, checking in more often, asking about my life, sending old photos of us like she was reminiscing. I responded when I felt like it, but always kept it short. Then, the tone changed. The more distant I became, the more Rachel tried to reel me back in. She asked if I missed her. I dodged the question. She brought up our engagement. I changed the subject. She tried joking about the open relationship. I bet you haven't even kissed anyone, lol. I ignored it. The longer she stayed overseas, the less power she had over me. And she could feel it slipping. One day, she sent me a long message about how her time abroad had made her appreciate what we have. She framed it like some kind of revelation, like she had gone on this journey of self-discovery and realized, oh wow, maybe the guy who stayed loyal and supported me for years was actually worth keeping. I didn't reply. For hours, the text sat there, unread. I went to the gym, grabbed dinner with friends, and didn't even think about it. Then came the follow-up message. Are you okay? It's weird that you're so quiet lately. That one I read. I even responded. I'm great, just been busy. That was all she got. Her reply came fast. Busy with what? I smiled at the screen, put my phone down and didn't answer. From that point, Rachel tried every tactic. First, she played the sweet, loving fiancée. She started talking about our future again, mentioning the wedding like it was still happening. She sent old photos, brought up inside jokes, tried to drag me back into what we used to be. When that didn't work, she switched to guilt. It feels like you don't care anymore. You're acting so different. This isn't like you. I feel like I'm losing you. The irony wasn't lost on me. She was just now feeling like she was losing me. She had lost me the second she suggested an open relationship. 3 months before Rachel's contract was up, she pushed her luck. Be honest, have you been with anyone else? I could almost hear the forced casualness behind the text. If I had still been the guy she left behind, the guy who was so devoted, so loyal, I might have played along. I might have reassured her, might have made her feel like she still had control. But I wasn't that guy anymore. So I told her the truth. Yeah. There was no reply for hours. Then, late that night, was it serious? I stared at the screen for a long time before typing. Maybe. She didn't text again for a week. She cut her contract short. Rachel was supposed to be gone for a full year, but at the 9-month mark, she suddenly announced she was ready to come home early. I wasn't surprised. She had felt it. The shift in power, the way I had detached. She thought if she came back in person, she could fix it. She assumed the moment she walked through the door, everything would reset. She was so sure that I was just going through a phase, that all it would take was her presence, her charm, her affection, and I'd be hers again. When she landed, she called me immediately. I didn't pick up. I let her sit with the silence for a while. Then, after an hour, I texted her. I'm not home right now. I'll stop by later. She sent back a quick, eager reply. Okay, can't wait. She still didn't get it. When I finally arrived at our old apartment, she opened the door expecting a reunion. She looked me up and down, her smile faltering just a little. I wasn't the same man she left. The weight I had lost, the confidence in my stance, the calm detachment in my eyes, she could tell. Her arms twitched like she wanted to hug me, but something in my expression stopped her. She swallowed. It's so good to see you. I nodded. Yeah, you too. Then I stepped past her and grabbed the last few things I had left there. That's when her breath hitched. That's when she knew. This wasn't a fight. There was no dramatic confrontation, no yelling, no begging. There was just acceptance. I was done. She watched in silence as I zipped up the duffel bag, checked my phone, and headed for the door. Her voice was small when she finally spoke. "That's it?" I turned back, taking one last look at the woman I had once planned to marry. She had made her choice, and now she had to live with it. Yeah, then I walked out, without looking back. Rachel texted me a few times after that. Nothing dramatic, just little attempts to start a conversation. A meme, a "this reminded me of you" message, a "hope you're doing well" text. I never responded. Not because I was angry, not because I wanted revenge, but because there was nothing left to say. A few months later, I was out at a rooftop bar with some friends. The night was warm, the city lights stretched out below us, and I felt lighter than I had in years. At some point, I caught myself laughing at something stupid, just completely in the moment. And that's when it hit me. I had spent years thinking Rachel and I were meant to be. That our love was something rare, something worth fighting for. But in reality, she was just a chapter. And I had already turned the page. I pulled out my phone, scrolled past her unread messages, and deleted the entire thread. Then I put my phone away and got back to my life. Because while she was stuck looking backward, I was already moving forward.